What's up, everybody? Your man Rudy Rush. We are back. You can't rush success. Another great episode about to be in the books. Now, we want to thank everybody for following us on Mean Old Lion Media, but you can catch us on all podcasting platforms. That's Spotify, Apple, you know the names. Just go out there and you find us. You can't rush success with your man Rudy Rush. Now, listen, all of our guests thus far, of course, either friends or people I know or people you know in the business. So this guest today, I'm going to say this. I didn't realize this until he came on the docket and I'm reading up on him and everything like that. And we'll get to the bottom of it. But in entertainment, especially today, and it held true a long time ago with the likes of Sammy Davis and others. Jamie Foxx is another person. And this gentleman right here, I kind of put him in that category as well, because in entertainment, you can't just be a one-trick pony. And we're about to find out more about this guy. Now, you guys have seen him. If you are into entertainment and gone out on a night on the town with your significant other or your girlfriends or whatever, my sister loves this guy. He's been in plays. He's been in movies. He's doing specials now. He's on a very good series on BET. We'll talk a little bit about that. But this is a person who definitely is the epitome of entertainment. Welcome to the show, Christian
Rudy
Keys.
Rush,
What's up, Christian?
What up, though, man?
What's good, dog? Listen, let me tell you something. There used to be a joke on In Living Color back in the days. I think you remember the skit about the Jamaicans working so much. 18,000 jobs. And, a lot of people know you from, of course, your acting career. And I believe before then, even some modeling and print work and things of that nature. Well, let's start from the beginning. How did you get into entertainment, period?
You know what? I didn't even plan on it. I thought it was going to be music first for me. I thought I was going to be like Babyface 2.0 or something. And God thought otherwise. And apparently he was like, yeah, that's cute, but you're going to be over here and get these acting blessings if you want my blessings. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be over here then. So I started doing local theater in back in Michigan, started doing commercials. I was doing some of the modeling way back then. That's back when I had the long John the Baptist hair. And it ended up building out. Like, I literally booked the first audition I went on for a nationally touring stage play with, Regina Bell, Shirley Murdoch, Carl Payne, Carvin Winans, like icons in my mind. I'm like, I get to share the stage with these people. I get to learn and be annoying and ask a bunch of questions. Bet. And the more I leaned into it, started taking classes, started reading every book I could get my hands on. The opportunities kept coming and I kept growing in that space. And theater is a monster. So I'm grateful that I went that route, that he set it up for me to go that route. And made the transition after the Medea Goes to Jail was done in the dark, moved to LA because I wanted to start doing more TV and film and some commercials. And that worked out as well. And I'm grateful, brother. I'm just grateful.
No, definitely. We're grateful for your talent too, because it's some actors who we have so much, familiarity with, like people who we recognize, and you're becoming one of those people. Like, there's some actors that you see their face and you don't know their name. Well, your name is actually ringing out with all different things. And I like that about your career. Like, people can actually put a name to the face. And that's a very big testament of how great and how good your career is going right now. And so I wanted to ask you, because we're here really honestly to talk about your new project, and it's one that's different to people. When they say Christian Keys, they be like, what movie coming out in? What show? This is actually a single, which is leading into an album, I'm sure. But the single, let's talk about the single and you singing, which is almost crazy to some, but you know what? If you understand entertainment,
Exactly.
This is what it's about.
The new song Under That Veil is on radio stations, dozens and dozens of radio stations throughout the country and internationally, and it's starting to get a lot of love, a lot of momentum. Funny we're talking about that today because the song Under That Veil debuted in the Billboard R&B Top 30 chart today at number 29, which is wonderful because that's my first time getting a song to chart on Billboard and Media Base. And so it's a blessing, and it's scary because you can step out, you over here in this space that God is consistently blessing. So you notice a huge part of your purpose. And then you're like, okay, he keeps nudging you to now try music. You said you wanted to do it, now you should try it. And it's a little scary. It can be intimidating, but I also trust the work that I'm putting in. I'm rehearsing like I got a major record deal and all of that stuff. And I don't, my record label is my wallet. So And my relationships and my friendships and those connections that you nurture over the years. And now it's like, man, 20 years ago I was trying to get a song on the radio. Now I got one. I grew up listening to Stevie Wonder, and now his radio station here in LA is playing under that veil. And I got a chance to meet him again the other day and just tell him and thank him. So it's everything goes full circle if we're brave enough to put in the work, man. And I'm grateful to be in this moment right now.
All right, so I gotta ask you because much like some of these artists out here, you write these songs, and the titles got me under the veil. Like I'm thinking all types of stuff, especially with your acting background. I'm putting your acting background into what the song mean. I'm like, he dating some woman that just got married with me. What is Under the Veil about? What's the song
Well,
about?
my brother asked me a question a while back, and he was like, with everything going on in your career, my oldest brother, who's one of my heroes, he's like, "Are you ready to, settle down? You really think you want to be married?" I was like, "Yeah, man. I'm not dating somebody if I can't see her being under that veil." And the way my mind works, I can hear a word, and a part of my mind, 10% of my mind, would be like, "Hey, that's a song." And so I immediately wrote the song. I wrote the chorus that day. I finished the rest of the song that week, and I knew it was something special. So yeah, that's where it came from. Just trying to manifest what I want in life. I've never been married in real life. I have an amazing son. His mom was a great teammate when we were raising him. But her and I hadn't been together since he was like 3 or something. So, we've been teammates for a
Mm.
long time, but I've never been married. And I love the idea of love. I love the possibility of being married, but it's got to be right. So it was just trying to manifest what I want, man, and declare what I want in an honest way in my words. Like making music is easy to try to write something to sound like, okay, Usher's doing amazing. Let's try to sound like Usher or Chris Brown or
Yeah.
this artist or that artist is doing amazing. Let's try to sound like everything else, or let's make an honest musical moment so that way it'll connect and people can relate to it. And that's what I think we've done. And the album is bananas, and it comes out at the end of next month.
So let me ask you, because you're in the entertainment business. How did some of your peers and some of your contemporaries think about? Because that's one thing about us. We move in life so fast. Some people don't understand. Like it's almost like going to a wedding or hanging out at karaoke, and somebody just goes up there and like, "Dang, they can sing." I ain't know. So what are some of your co-actors and people that in the business? How are they responding to what you got
Brother,
going
it's
on
been
right now?
amazing, man. It's been a lot of love. It's been a lot of people with positivity saying, hey, even before they heard the music, I know you sing and I know you have a love affair with music. If it's on your heart or in your spirit to do it, do it. And
Mm.
those chunks of support are helpful. You know what I'm saying? So, and then when they hear it, it's like, Keys, this is a banger. What is this? Where you been hiding all this music, bruh? What else you got over there? So it's a really positive thing. It's that positive reinforcement has been wonderful, especially coming from peers and people who do it, and then people whose music career I've been shaped by as far as their influence on me, how to tell a story, how to create an honest musical moment. Even some of them are like, yo, that's crazy. That's bananas. What
Mm.
else is on that album? So I'm ecstatic about the feedback we're getting.
That's cool right now. We're talking to Christian Keys. The new project is out, Under the Veil, so you got to go cop that. The album is coming right behind that. It's a banger from what I'm understanding. But we know you from acting, like I said before, and you were very lucky to, get into the acting realm through stage play. It's a very good it's almost like going to college or going to Juilliard because it's constant, memory and there's very little room for error. What are some of the tough times you had coming up? Because, someone would look at your career and be like, oh, it's been successful the whole time. But has there been a time where things were a little rough and you were kind of second guessing things and decisions that you made?
Most of my entire life. Yeah, I mean, I came up in the foster care system, and 12 or 15 foster homes. I think 3 group homes, a few detention centers, child abuse, um, homelessness when I was running away from those homes that were abusive, and I would just sleep on the street or break into somebody's garage and sleep next to their car, or sleep next to the garage, or steal sheets out of Kmart so I could cover myself at night. Um, choices that an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 year old kid shouldn't have to be making. Um, excuse me. So it was never easy. But I'm grateful that through all of that, God made sure I was safe. He took care of me. He made sure I made it through, so I can appreciate that. So that way, one day when I am the boss, I know how to treat people and how not to treat them. And I know how to be appreciative. Like that level of humility and that level of hunger, literal and figurative. You don't forget that, as a kid, you can't go home because you might get hit with the hammer again. And so
Mm,
you sneak in the middle school cafeteria and you're digging through the trash, trying to find somebody else's half-eaten
mm,
hamburger or meatloaf, or you're digging through McDonald's dumpster, or you begging at McDonald's. That doesn't leave you. That level
mm.
of humility, that humble pie does not leave you. So I'm grateful for all that because it keeps me grounded and it keeps everything in perspective. But it was never always easy. And I treat every project that I book, every show, every film, I treat it like it's Marvel, like it's the biggest thing in
Mm.
the world, because if I approach it that way, it allows me to connect to it honestly and professionally, and be prepared and have some audacity and make some choices as an actor, as a writer, as a singer, whatever. So I try to do all the above and keep the lessons that I've learned through my hardships in mind. So that way I can appreciate every single time I get to show up to set and they pay me to live somebody else's
Yeah.
life in front of some cameras. That's wonderful, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, I was going to say something earlier, but I've seen you out and about. I live in Dallas, Texas, so I've seen you come
Mhm.
here and hang out and how real you are with people. And so, sometimes people will sit here and say things like you just told us and be someone else in real life. And I'm actually, a testament that I've seen you out without us just meeting in passing and you being a cool and down to earth brother, which is cool. But I wonder, honestly, because of what you told me about your past and what you've told us and shared with us, which most people don't know, to look at you and think that you would never come from a situation like that. I actually had a similar situation where, without going into detail too much, I had some teachers who I had in junior high school, and I really, hold them near and dear. I was doing a literary event in Vermont, and we were just sitting there with a great author, Jamaica Kincaid, and they were asking me these questions, and they didn't know. These are my teachers. They didn't know that I had 4 siblings. It was because of what was going on and what was so turbulent at the time. I just never talked about it. I used school as an escape. Did you use, or do you still use your career and your talents for an escape of your past? And I know you keep things in perspective, but was that something that helped you get away from all of the things that you went through?
Absolutely. The writing really helped. I started writing as a kid because in some of those, the only consistent thing in foster homes is pretty much usually a roof and a semi-safe place sometimes, and paper and pencil.
Mm,
And I started writing because if
mm,
I was in a bad place or an uncomfortable place or I didn't feel safe, I could write myself into a space, a world where it was safer and it was better. And they weren't hiding the food, and they bought us clothing, and they wouldn't dump water on you in the middle of the night and make you go do chores and knowing you got school in the morning. And and this is
mm.
not counting the child abuse stuff. This is the foster care system,
Yeah,
and where CPS is supposed to protect you, they dropped the ball for years. So writing helped me escape some of that mentally. It gave me a place where I could go, and I started liking it and getting it got good to me. You know what I mean? I could write
mm,
myself as a kid
yeah,
in a loving black family that we had a dog and I got to mow the lawn and I didn't get beat, and we had food and occasionally I got ice cream once a week. I could write myself into these spaces, and it felt good, and it helped me cope with a lot of the stuff that I was going through. And then fast forward to college,
yeah.
probably I had one of my teachers tell me, hey, this you got something here, and his reputation was, you're not getting a good grade, It doesn't matter what color you are. It ain't because you're black or brown. It's just because he doesn't do that. He kept pulling me aside, and I thought he was going to accuse me of cheating. And he was like, "Man, if it wasn't for your grammar, if you tighten up, there, and there, the three theirs, the two yours,
Mm.
um, little things like that, comma in the wrong
Yeah.
place and stuff. If it wasn't for that, I'd have to give you an A minus because I'm not giving you an A." And he said, "But you may want to consider, changing your curriculum to critical writing." And I was like,
Mm.
"What?" He's like, "You get it." And I was like, "Well, you teaching the hell out of it, so thank you." So it that encouraged me to have some audacity and keep going. Fast forward to, I'm still writing shows. I'm probably 8 or 10 shows so far that I've written, 6 or 8 movies. All the Queen's Men on BET Plus. I wrote that, sold that to Tyler Perry Studios.
Let's debunk the myth right now, because you just said something that totally shatters the myth out there that Tyler Perry doesn't allow anyone to
Mhm.
write anything. You're saying right now that you actually have written something that came through Tyler Perry Studios, which is the show that you just
All
All
the
the
Queen's
Queen's
Men.
Men. You
It
said,
says it when the credits roll up on every episode, created by Christian Keys, based on the book Ladies' Night by Christian Keys. And I wrote most of the first season, probably 85% of the first season.
wow. Now, how did that feel to have something that's a huge accomplishment? A lot of people don't understand how difficult it is to write, not only how difficult it is to write, but to have something come to life, to come to fruition, like a big television show on a platform with an engine like a Tyler Perry Studios behind it. So how did that make you feel? Was that your greatest accomplishment to this point? Or maybe let's talk to that. What's the one moment you had to sit down yourself and say, yo, Christian, I really did
Um,
that.
it felt amazing. Two, it ended up looking and being even better than I thought it was going to be in my head. And that's always wonderful.
Mm.
When the characters start coming to life and you see them up off the page and you hear them talking, and that's the voice that you heard in your head, and that's the way they move and walk and their mannerisms and things like that. That part is amazing. And then
Mm.
just to know how hard it is, as a black content creator, as someone who is a writer, to get a show done and it goes, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. That's bananas as well. We've only been up to 2 so far, even though I know what's going on in the future. I can't talk about it, but it is wonderful. So I'll leave it at that. So it was amazing, and for them to take a chance on me, for TPS to take a chance on me, and the development team did an amazing job. Michelle Sneed, Elon Johnson, DeAndre Short. I called them the Avengers. I brought them a really good show, and they helped me develop it into a great show. So I'm thankful to them for their partnership and their wisdom, and I'm grateful for everybody who loves the show.
Now that show is scandalous, bro. And it's a lot of stuff going on. Where'd you get the ideas for these characters and these situations? Are there something that you actually maybe lived through, or these people you actually know? Like, what's the basis for a project like this that's so very well received in the
Well,
public
back
eye?
when back in 2010, when I heard that they were doing the Magic Mike movie, I'm like, okay, it's probably going to be, what it's supposed to be, but it's not going to have a whole lot of soul and reflection of melanin in there at all.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
was like, you know what? I should write that story and wrap it around a woman who is the most powerful figure in that city. And she's moving all these pieces around her chessboard, all the rooks and bishops and knights and so forth, and pawns, lots of pawns. And so I wrote it, and it was originally called Black Magic, of course. And then a couple
Hmm.
years later, I changed it to Ladies' Night. And I was still reworking the script, shopping it, getting those. People like, yeah, they didn't get the vision. They didn't understand what this could be. Turned it into a book in 2014, and Ladies' Night, the novel came out. Then I start, shopping. I'm like, listen, it's based on a book. The book is doing good. People, want to see the show or the movie. They still didn't get it. Cut to 2019, Tyler Perry Studios got the vision and they understood it, and I'm grateful. So it's been a tough one, but it's worth
Uh huh.
pushing through all those no's. It's absolutely worth it. I'm glad I didn't quit on it. And I think God is a genius and a comedian because he would always give me just enough motivation to stay the course and not quit on the idea.
Yeah. So how was that relationship like, with the studio heads? One particular Tyler Perry, like, because you have a successful show, he's of course, benefiting from that success. He trusted you. So how is that? Do you get to be on like the speed dial? You're like, let me just call him and say what's up. Do you get to FaceTime? Like, what's that situation like, especially even with the connections that he has? Do you ever see yourself like, wow, I'm talking to these three different people in one day and their iconic status? Do you feel like, and I think you are on your way there, but does that ever affect how you feel when you go home? You're like, man, this is something big. This is something
I'm
serious.
aware that it's something amazing. Be clear. I know like I knew it was life changing because it hit right before the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, all of 2020, I was pretty much in the house writing episodes and rewriting episodes, writing the first season. So, and they were like, okay, well, we got to, lose this character, merge these two characters into one, because we were in COVID and we were shooting inside the bubble. So we could only have so many people in there, only have so many characters, only have so many locations. So that means big changes. If you remove a gas station that's in 4 scenes in an episode, you got to figure out a new place to put those scenes. They can't all be in the same place. You can't
Mm.
move all four to one. You got to move two over here, one over there, and one over there. And if you got to lose characters, I was doing all of that arithmetic during the pandemic, but I'm grateful. I was literally sitting at the island in my kitchen, 5, 6, 8 hours a day, sometimes 12 hours a day, getting them pages done. And it was worth every bit of it. And as far as my relationship with Mr. Perry, he's still the boss. I I treat the janitor like the CEO, but
Yeah,
I never
yeah.
get too comfortable in that space to where I'm gonna take it for granted or feel some sort of entitlement. I still got a job to do. I show up and kick butt as an actor on that show. I consult on the episodes as we're writing them. When the writers' room is handling that, throwing some interesting things in there and trying to challenge the team that's going to write the episodes now. And I'm excited to see where it goes because more and more people are starting to find out about it, and as it's growing, man, it's just gonna continue to grow like a wildfire.
Yeah, my mama's in love right now. She's like, are you gonna be talking to him? Tell him. I'm
Make
like,
sure you
Mom, be
tell what's her
quiet.
name. Make sure you show
Linda.
Linda this. Hi, Miss Linda.
No, I will. I promise you, man. So, one thing I wanted to, because I had a conversation with Kevon Edmonds
Love him,
from
man. One
After
of my
Seven.
favorite groups.
Yeah, dope dude. And we had a conversation. He was, on the show a few weeks ago. And the one thing I liked about his story, which kind of reminds me a little of yours, even though you were younger in your initial, bringing into Hollywood, meaning like this plays and then some of the projects. But now with your music career, he was the youngest in the group and his brothers were older. He was 30 years old. And I like the fact that you're still pursuing. And now look at, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You're Billboard charting, and you're over 30 years
Mm-hmm.
old. You know what I mean? You're 31,
Yeah.
32,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, 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 yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I like the fact that you didn't give up on that part of your dream. And it's actually probably benefited you like doing these things early because it's making this much stronger because this was your passion. This was the thing you thought you were going to do. So, how does it feel like, honestly, this part, because you're almost morphing into something different that you haven't really touched in over
Mm-hmm.
half of your
I, it,
career?
it definitely it's a different high, it's a different rush, but both of those highs are clean. Hennessy can't give it to you. That green leaf can't give it to you. This is something else. But I'm grateful that I was brave enough to step out there and try it. I'm glad that because sometimes when we're afraid, we got to ask for His strength. And I was like, "Hey, I'm nervous about this, sir. Uh, are you sure?" And our conversation was simple. Like he don't send me text messages, but he'll put what he needs me to know in my spirit. And what I got from
Mm.
praying 8, 10 times a day and just having a great relationship with God is that He can't bless it if I don't build it and put it out there. And that's what he kept nudging me about. Like, I want to bless this for you, but you got to be brave enough and you got to trust me enough to do the work, get it done right, do music that represents who you are, make some magic. I put magic in you, man. Make some, put it out, and watch what I do with it. And so I love those conversations. I'm getting chills now. Stop it. I'm trying to record. But we, and I ain't know, I'm a cussing Christian. He know me. I'm not I don't got my Bible on me at all times, but if I get an opportunity to give credit where it's due, then I'm gonna let folk know who really, running this. And I'm grateful.
Yeah.
It feels amazing. And just to watch the rest of the world kind of change the way they look at you. They got to put on a different pair of glasses to look at you and see you in this light now, not just an actor. Back in the day, they might have thought, okay, big yellow pretty boy, whatever. I hate being called pretty boy, by the way. But they try to relegate you to a little label, and then, oh, okay, well, he's an actor. Okay, he's a good actor. Wait, we believe it. Why have we not hired him? It escalates into that space, and then when you sell a show that ends up being wonderful, you create a show and sell a show and write most of it.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, now we got to look at you as an executive producer and as a writer and as a creator. And then over here in the music, it's teaching me lessons that are going to be beneficial as an actor, teaching me how to
Yeah.
face these fears over here and these discomforts over here, because you can't grow in the comfort zone and you can't be comfortable in the growth zone. So it's a wonderful kind of discomfort, and I love it.
No, you could have totally stayed in your lane and did acting, and you would have been totally fine, I'm sure. And people wouldn't have even judged not one moment of you making that decision. But the uncomfortableness of going into something, and now the reward of being on Billboard and taking things even further. I really appreciate you for even doing that, because that's what the show's about, showing people that they don't have to necessarily stay in one lane. You can pivot. You can see one trajectory for yourself and then go one other area and then come back, So where do you see yourself in the next few years? Because now I can ask you that, because now you've kind of, put your hands on so many different things. You're grounded spiritually. You have a great ability to write shows that can be successful. So now you can sit in front of any director or any big wig at these big studios and say, hey, this is what I've done. And now you can go into a record label and be like, hey, I chart. You know what I mean? So next for Christian Keys.
What's next for me? Us getting through the writer's strike, and I agree as a writer, they got to do better in regards to us. Not sure if the SAG strike is going to happen or not. If that happens, then nothing is going to be shot this summer. So I'm going to do events and dates and get some performances and open for some amazing artists that I'm already speaking to a few. Can't speak on it yet. But I do know I got, I'm opening for El DeBarge, the OJs, Howard Hewitt, and Stephanie Mills in Indianapolis at the IBE, the Indiana Black Expo, in the middle of July. I'm doing a listening party in Dallas for the album. I'm doing an album release party in Atlanta on my birthday next month. That's when the album drops, July 24th. So I'm gonna stay busy catching these blessings. TV and film wise and writing wise. I'm finishing up the next 3 books, finishing up and pitching, 6 or 7 shows right now and 4 or 5 different films. I love the creative process, building it up, whether I'm in it or not. When I was younger, I got to be the lead in this and I got to be the lead in that and that and that and that. Now I understand I don't always I can pick a character over here and have a ball with them and bring that character to life and write it to where it's nowhere near who I am, or whatever, and enjoy it and still cast the hell out of that thing and have an incredible show or an incredible film. So now I love the process, and I love the fact that every time we go to shoot a season of All the Queen's Men, we employ 150, 200 black and brown folk that might not be working and might not be bolstering their resume in the field that they want to, but because of this blessing and this vehicle, we're all blessed by it, not just me.
That's what's up, brother. Christian Keys, where can we find you at, man?
My Twitter and Instagram are both the same. I only have one page on each, and it's at Christian Keys. No underscores, no numbers, no hyphens. ChristianKeyes. That's my Twitter and IG. My Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, they are all the same. It's actor Christian Keys. No underscore, no hyphens, no numbers. And the video for my new song, Under That Veil, it's on YouTube right now as well.
That's what's up. Now, a lot of people just hit me up and they just told me that you might be going on tour with your surprise with your sister Alicia.
Listen, I would go open for Alicia. That would be dope.
No, that would be fantastic, man. And you know what? I could see you doing that when you're charting the way you are and heading down the paths you are. We laugh about it now, but it's a reality that can be happening tomorrow. So, you gotta shoot for that, But definitely I appreciate everything that you've done in your career, because even with you speaking about things that I didn't even know and our audience didn't know, and most of your fans probably don't, is the fact that you went through some hard crazy experiences as a kid and has come through that. And so many people need to hear that, Christian. And I appreciate you being open enough to come on this show and share that with us, because we don't have to know that. We could just see what we see and just be like, oh, see, he's probably come from a a nice home and siblings and all that, but there's hardships, and then there's ways you can get past it and you can get to success no matter what, if you have the fortitude and you have the faith that you have. And we applaud you, and we're cheering for you,
Thank
man.
you, brother. I
Big time.
appreciate it, and thank you for having me. Oh, one more thing too. I partnered up with Deborah Hubbard, who trademarked and launched her apparel line, Black Don't Crack. We've been saying that for years. All of us have for decades. But she started a clothing line 8 or 9 years ago, or something like that, maybe longer. And I partnered with her, and we formed Black Don't Crack Skincare. So we're doing something in that space, because you only get one face. You got to take care of your skin. And people always ask, people who know my age, like, what's your regimen, man? How does your face still look like your face? And there is something to be said for doing something more for your skin than dollar store cocoa butter. You gotta take care of this so it looks like something that you want to look in the mirror at every day, and that you're comfortable, and it looks healthy, and it's so it looks healthy and resilient. Sorry. And you got to empower your skin. So I'm very happy about partnering with Black Don't Crack and creating the Black Don't Crack skincare company. And we're going to do something amazing, and we're launching that this year.
All right, so everybody at the office, when you see these 70-year-old black people looking like they 30, you could blame Christian.
Black Don't Crack, man. Listen, you got to take care. And the funny thing about, we've been working on this for 4 years. The funny thing about it is this: if you're proactive when it comes to your skin, it's easier. If you take care of it before, lines and wrinkles and everything, and those aren't bad, because it gives you character, it gives your face beauty and character and definition. But if we're proactive and we take care of it, it can pretty much stay where it is. It can still get healthier, but it won't. It doesn't have to continue to age like that. And that's the point. It's like, let's take care of this. So I'm super excited about it, because I know that's going to be bananas, partnering with her on that.
All right, since we're best friends now, I'm gonna send you my Cash App for Christmas, because I'm gonna need a loan. You got about 18 jobs. I'll be like, yo, Chris, man, hook me up, man. But no, bless you, bro, and much success to you. Hopefully I can catch you in Dallas, because that's where we're at. So definitely, man, much success to you and touring and everything else involved. And hopefully, and I'm affected by the strikes too. So I hope they, pass us without too much trouble. We can get back to work and making these great projects. So thank you very much for joining us. And everybody out there, make sure you follow my man at Christian Keys, no underscore. He's the real deal. And you can catch me at Rudy Rush, of course. Mean Old Lion Media. You Can't Rush Success. That's another episode in the books. Thank y'all. See y'all later. Peace.